Me in the studio, Benoit Azar, researcher at the CNRS, and you know Kenya particularly well. You were just listening there with me to the head of the Electoral Commission. He said the vote will go ahead tomorrow, the rerun as planned, polls stations opening at 6 a.m. And yet Raila Odinga, who he said he'd spoken to, as well as the president, he said that he won't be taking part in this poll. He said he's called for the opposition to boycott it. And also the man who just said the election was going ahead, I understand, just a few days ago said it might be able to go ahead technically, but he couldn't guarantee it'd be free and fair.
Yeah, so I was waiting the declaration of Wafula Chebukati because it's clear that the country today is at the border of a collapse, because tomorrow there will be an election that will be organized, and he confirmed that this election will be held, and at the same time half of the country probably will not vote tomorrow, and that is really a problem. And that's why I'm wondering myself, as a specialist of Kenya and listening every part of the country, if it's really reasonable to organize such an election, knowing that it's not possible today to ensure that this will be a credible election, technically, but also constitutionally, because many of the claims that were pushed at the Supreme Court this morning were raising this question of the process in accordance with the Constitution. One of the deputy of the IBC nominated yesterday has been nominated since it is against the Constitution, and it is clear that in this process one part of the country cannot agree and cannot accept that the process is going on.
So not only is there a very good chance that turnout will be incredibly low, but there's also a risk of violence. So the head of the Electoral Commission was saying that he'd been assured by President Uhuru Kenyatta that Kenyatta has assured protection for all Kenyans. But at the same time, just a few moments earlier, the chairman said that police had used excessive force towards opposition supporters because they have been out on the streets in the last few weeks and some have been killed.
And even today, there is a meeting at the Uhuru Park organized by the opposition, and this meeting has been banned by the Ministry of Interior, since one court said that it's not possible to ban such a demonstration. So one of the problems is that there is a very big tension today in the country, and the police, as part of responsibility, is what is happening, particularly because all the part of the country that are more close to the opposition, to the NASA, have been they have been put under control of the police over the last few weeks, and there is a lot of human rights. A lot of attacks against human rights and against the opponent. And at the same time, I'm trusting that the opposition will be able to control the people who are behind Raila Odinga, because what I heard over the last few days, it was really that Raila Odinga claimed for peace, and not for peaceful election, but for a peaceful process in order to move forward. And it was in Bondo on Monday, he said that there is no need to attack the Kikuyu, who are the people close to Kenyatta historically, and that they have to move together in peace and to find a way in peace. And there is a lot of many components of the civil society in Kenya that they can push this issue all together, and I think that regarding all this, all what is happening, I think that one way to be reasonable, even from the international community, will be to ask to postpone this election, because it will be possible to organize it later.
So do you think Uhuru Kenyatta, who was declared the winner of the first election that was then annulled by the Supreme Court because of irregularities, is he being unreasonable then in insisting on this rerun going ahead?
Personally, I don't understand why there is this need to go ahead in this election process, because it is already not in accordance with the Constitution and for more than 1 month. There was a lot of failure in the organization of the new process, and I think that the first one was that there was a need to change. If we need to organize fresh election, there is a need to change to make fresh IBC, as well as all the technical tools that can. It means transmission of electronic data.
The IBC is the Electoral Commission. And Raila Odinga called for the head to step down.
And this has not been done. So I think that since, and this is really a problem. Why? Because the constitution that has been accepted in 2010 by all the Kenyan is the basis of a people who is belonging to Kenya. You can say, I am a Kenyan because I recognize the constitution. And if the politicians start to play with the constitution, it means they are breaking the contract between all the Kenyan. So there is a need to come back to the constitution.
All right, Benoit Azar, thank you very much indeed for your time and your analysis.
Thank you.
That's it.